can't disinherit.
Nippy Singh and Nigel Farrell are friends. They've given themselves 2 weeks to find the perfect holiday home in southern France, which they plan to renovate over the course of a year. After 9 days of property hunting, they put an offer on a house in the Ardèche region.
Wow. God, look at that. I'll tell you something, I think this house is absolutely perfect. Yes,
But they're not the only interested parties. They're in competition with a rival bidder. Nigel and Nippy have put in an offer of £22,000 on a house they've set their hearts on. It's £2,000 over their budget, but £2,000 more than the other bidder. The estate agent has told them he'll call when he's got news. Nigel and Nippy are itching to find out more about the place they hope will be their second home. Whilst they wait for the estate agent to get back to them, they set out to explore a wild and remote landscape that's little known to British tourists. They've chosen the Ardèche region in southern France because it's sunny and properties on the whole are cheap and plentiful. Aubenas is 170 kilometres south of Lyon and is the nearest big town to the house. Nigel's using every opportunity to impress the locals with his admittedly rather limited French.
Bonjour, 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 madame. Bonjour. 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 A bit quiet around here.
Nippy is more interested in checking out the food shops than the sights and has got his eye on a local speciality, spicy goat's cheese. No problem for a curry-loving Sikh.
Ooh. Ah.
Non, c'est pas.
Ah, peak. Oh, jeez. Like Indian chili.
Fromage vieux et fort, non?
Now I know what peak means.
Nigel's growing increasingly impatient to hear from the estate agent. Eventually, he can stand the suspense no longer and gives him a ring.
Hello, good morning. It's Nigel here. You said you were going to phone us about the offer on the house in the hills. You said you were going to phone us about the offer. And? Oh, wait. Okay. All right, I'll pass that on to Nippy. All right. Okay, merci, Patrice. Bonjour.
Although their offer was higher, they had been just a few hours too late. The other offer was accepted. Nigel heads back to break the bad news to Nippy.
Ah oui, yeah, Frank. Oh. Ah, merci, merci. Yeah, merci. Non.
Non.
Ce n'est pas bien.
Ça marche pas.
Yeah. Peut-être les autres. Yeah.
Espérer.
So it's back to the old pastis then.
With only 5 days remaining of their 2-week trip, they decide that they'll view more properties if they see estate agents separately.
Unlike Nigel, I'd rather go home empty-handed than make a rash purchase.
Nigel is off to look over a house a few miles away. Nippy has an appointment with a well-known agent in town.
Monsieur Malia?
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Emmanuel Tochou, bonjour. You don't speak French?
No,
Okay.
afraid not. Yeah?
Sit down.
Great. I'm here to look at some properties, to buy a holiday home.
That's the right place, maybe?
Yeah, great.
You tell me your name?
Yeah, Nippy.
Nippy.
Yeah.
And
And
tell me.
I'll write it down for you.
Nippy.
I am Emmanuel.
Great.
You can call me Emmanuel.
Sure.
Nigel's two-bedroom terrace house is in a village across the valley with great views and seems like a bargain at £10,000. He's been told to meet his estate agent at 10:45 outside the town bar. He'll be the one in the grey suit with the brown handkerchief.
Je suis Nigel. I'm Nigel.
Monsieur Fournier de l'agence Bourdon Immobilier.
Moi, c'est bon, c'est bon. Parlez-vous anglais?
Pas du tout.
No, no. Ah.
There's no language barrier between Nippy and his estate agent, Emmanuel, or Manu for short. They're getting on like a house on fire.
The place. And it's a very nice place. For me, I think it's a nice place. Yeah?
He's supposed to be taking Nippy to see a 4-bedroom townhouse, but doesn't seem to be in any rush to get there.
This is so beautiful. This is a Roman bridge with a Roman track with stone on the track, you see. And you can jump from the bridge and dive from the rocks. It's really quite deep, yes.
Yeah. And oh, look at this.
Yes, look. This place here.
This is lovely.
It's a very beautiful
And
place.
the color of the water. Oh, what is this for?
It's for bungee jumping.
What?
Bungee jumping, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
What? You're not serious?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Do you want to try with your hat? You have to jump.
Nigel's arrived at his property, but seems to have forgotten that Monsieur Fournier doesn't speak a word of English.
Non.
So it's a terraced house.
Voilà. C'est la petite partie qui n'est pas rénovée. Hein.
It needs renovation. I can see that. Yes.
Nippy's house consists of 4 bedrooms on 3 floors. No great views, but just the amount of space he needs.
So this would be here as the kitchen pour la cuisine.
Oui, alors, la maison est ravitaillée en eau de ville.
For washing up.
Voilà, électricité.
Ah, right, got you.
Okay.
This house has electricity.
Voilà.
And it has water.
Et eau.
And water.
D'accord.
It has that already. C'est prêt. Oui, it's here. Ici, electricity, low, ici.
Ici.
C'est bon.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
This is the second room with a chimney.
Ah, so this is the main room, the pièce principale.
La pièce principale, on a sur le devant un petit balcon.
A little balcony.
On va y aller.
It's nice, it's nice.
If we wanted to take this down and renovate it, could we do that?
Yes, sure.
Change the roof
And have a terrace. Yes, yes, it's possible.
barbecue?
Barbecue. Yes,
Indian
of course.
barbecue?
Indian barbecue.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
Le matin au réveil, formidable. Le matin, faut prendre son petit déjeuner.
You're a very good salesman, eh? C'est bon? Coffee in the mornings? No. C'est bon. Magnifique. I'll have it. I really think the house that I've found is absolutely perfect. So I guess I'm a bit cheesed off to discover that Nippy's also found somewhere that he thinks is as good, if not better. But then that's Nippy, I suppose. He would think that. So this is it?
Yeah, this is it. On the left and on the right have both been renovated. Both are being lived in.
Can we have a look inside? That's,
Yeah, sure.
that's pretty critical.
We are coming up to the top floor. And
So two
rooms.
bedrooms.
Yeah, two rooms. And also, if you think of it, there's a reasonable size. Can you see the storage area which was being used?
Well, half the roof clearly needs redoing. I can see that's new, but that's completely old and needs
fine.
redoing, doesn't it?
Look at this wall, Nigel. Because the next door house was renovated, they've already done repair work here.
It looks lovely, doesn't it? It looks really charming.
You know,
Nippy.
it's, all you have to do is just tidy it up and that's it.
You did slightly seem to have changed your principles on this, Nippy. I mean, it was you that said originally location, 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 wasn't it? Yeah. And I'm not sure at all about this location. I mean, you look out of that window. Well, you look out of that window, and what do you see? You see brickwork and you see masonry, don't you? The other thing is that this is a big house, isn't it? I know that would ideally suit us, but given the budget, £20,000.
It is for that very reason that I think this is a property that we should seriously consider.
Yeah, but how are we going to renovate? What, 6, 7 rooms? And what are we going to end up with anyway? Wouldn't it be far more sensible to buy somewhere much smaller, much more modest?
There aren't any.
No, there are some. We'll find some. Smaller, but in a place which has at least got a decent view, Nippy. Come on, that is what we agreed, you know.
Nigel Farrell and Nippy Singh are hunting for a French holiday home. They've agreed that the Ardèche region is the right place, but the house hunting is putting quite a strain on their friendship.
The problem is that on £20,000 even here, you can't buy a palace. And one of the problems, I think, is that Nippy has got slightly different expectations to mine. He wants a big house, we can bring all his family out, and I don't think that's practical. I think we're going to have to go for something a little bit smaller. So I think it's crunch time now. And I sense Nippy doesn't think that, so we're in for an interesting time ahead.
Having dismissed Nippy's house out of hand, Nigel's now got a lot to prove, showing his property.
Come up the ladder.
Do I have to?
Yeah, come up and have a look.
I think I'd rather leave it.
No, come and have a look. Actually,
Yeah.
what you can see here is you've got 4 very solid walls.
Yeah,
right?
actually,
There's none of
Nigel, you can also see all sorts of holes.
Yeah.
And
well, Nippy,
Yeah.
it needs a new roof. That's also a party wall, so there's another house there.
Oh, there's another house there?
Yeah, yeah.
and when you have another house there
Yeah,
and there.
yeah. So I know it's very thin and very small, Nippy, but this is what you won't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
That, to me, makes this property.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, my view is that this is very small, and I know that doesn't suit you, but it's practical and it's got a nice view.
I can't even tie my turban here. This is so tiny.
You can't tie your turban?
Yeah.
Why? What's the matter?
Yeah.
How much space do you need to tie your turban?
About 5.5 meters worth of length, 6 meters worth of length.
You need a room of 6 meters long to tie your turban.
Yeah,
Why?
to set it up.
Why do you need to do that?
Turban is about 5.5, 6 meters long.
That's 6 meters?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you actually see the particulars?
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Did it not say not suitable for Sikhs?
Well, because of the turban stretching, I mean.
Yeah.
I don't recall that. The whole experience of house hunting together is turning into a bit of a nightmare. I've started to realise that getting to know someone through, I don't know, chatting to them over the post office counter is actually no substitute for really knowing them. This is a picture I took earlier. It's here in France. My kids, will you recognise them? There's Tom, that's his girlfriend Mandy, Alex, and Georgie. As well as me, there've been, at some stage, my 3 kids and Tom's girlfriend. And maybe the only other extra person I thought might be Jenny.
Oh, who's she?
Jenny, my first cousin.
Your first cousin?
Yeah, my first cousin. So
what, you're only, that's it?
Yeah.
Is it? You've got 1 first cousin?
Yep. And 3 kids. How many first cousins have you got?
Well, I've got 53. Oh, which?
53 first cousins?
53 first cousins.
You're kidding.
And I'm here, pictured here. Yeah?
No, is that you really?
Yeah, that's me. One day, I just tried to figure out how many family members we have. The figure came to 257.
Members of your immediate family?
Yeah, members of my immediate family from just mine. I'm not counting Biming's family.
Just on your side?
On my side, on both father and mother's side. 257.
And they're all coming over to stay with us in
Well,
France?
how shall we play it? What do you suggest?
Well, half a go, I should think. So we have 125 1 week and 125.
So we'd have to have a special permission from the mayor.
Well, I'm beginning to see your worries, given the size of your family. It's incredible, though, isn't it?
It is.
Just in case Nigel was still in any doubt about why they needed a reasonably sized house, Nippy let him judge for himself.
Nippy, I'm absolutely amazed at the size of this.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been had you been wearing a turban, would you?
No, it's incredible. I can't believe the size of it.
Day 11, and they're up at the crack of dawn. They still haven't found a house they both like, so Manu, the estate agent, is showing them round another property that sounds more promising. But they're not going anywhere until Nippy's sorted out his headgear.
You're very meticulous about it, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how I am.
Absolutely immaculate.
And here I am.
Brilliant.
Excuse me. Oui, hello? Oui.
I'm slightly alarmed this guy's always on the mobile phone whenever we're driving.
Là, je suis dans une voiture avec les Anglais, tu sais.
Well, he's making me nervous, to be honest, because the phone never stops ringing. Your mobile phone is always ringing when you're driving on these very dangerous roads.
Are you scared about it?
Yes, I'm scared of the roads anyway, and I'd like you to have both your hands on the steering wheel,
You are on the
please.
typical road in Ardèche.
But Manu, there's no barrier. Often there's no wall, just a sheer drop.
That's why I never drink.
Sure, yeah, sure. Why's your nose got twice as big as it was before? Would you mind just going a little bit slower on these bends without the barriers?
Don't stress, baby. I know this road very well.
I am worried, baby. We're very close to the edge.
After a 15-minute white-knuckle ride, they arrive at the hamlet.
How old is this building, Manu? Do you know?
It's from the 19th century.
And what sort of state is it in?
It's a stone-walled house. You've got no rooms. It's just a volume, you know.
And the roof?
And the roof is new. So you have to create everything inside. Up there.
Ah, c'est belle.
Right. Yes.
C'est belle.
Très joli. All right.
From the outside, the stone corner house in Les Fabres looks spacious, has lots of character, with an asking price of £15,000.
How many rooms? Is a main room?
No, this is the courtyard, private courtyard. And you've got downstairs, you've got 3 rooms. Then in the main room, you can make a new floor to have a new room.
Having only 1 or 2 internal walls, the house could be renovated in many different ways. But clearly, it needs a lot of work.
Why was a new roof put on then, and not the rest of the building?
Because when you have a bad roof, the rain gets in the wall, and then it's cold. The walls are cracking.
It's to protect the
Yes,
walls
it's
from further deterioration.
Yes.
Les Fabres is only a few kilometres from the nearest town of Vals-les-Bains. It's an isolated hamlet with only a very few houses, so you really need to get on with your neighbours. Nigel has discovered a wonderful terrace, but for some bizarre reason, you can't get to it from the house.
Wow. I mean, obviously we're going to need something slightly more permanent than the ladder for getting up here, but The journey was worth it. What a sensational, sensational view. And I can just imagine sitting here with cucumber sandwiches and strawberries and cream and maybe a little petit vin and admiring what has to be the best view that we've seen. Absolutely fantastic. And the town of Vals in the distance. Fantastic, sensational. Curious, I don't quite understand why they've blocked up whatever access there was before, but it's gone. Nips, can you give us a hand here, matey? This is a little bit...
How did you get up there?
with difficulty, and getting down to be equally difficult.
Gee. God, you're not going to fall over me, man. Oh, geez, watch it, man.
Wait,
hang on.
there.
Right. Careful.
Is that it?
That's it. Now you can jump.
You must be joking. I'm not jumping that I'm there.
Well, you'll have to from here.
Jeez. Well,
That'll be...
up you go then.
That'll be...
Up you go.
I'm not going up there.
Listen, I tell you, seriously, for it's an absolutely fantastic view.
Yeah?
It's the best one we've seen yet?
Oh, by far.
It is.
By far the best.
Yeah.
The one thing that we wanted was views. Location. It's got decent sized rooms here.
And the top of a hill.
Top of the hill.
Yeah. I can see us here.
Right, where is he?
This was undoubtedly the best house so far, and for once, they're both in agreement. First thing next morning, Nippy and Nigel head straight for Manu's office.
We think it's great. And the reason we're here, Manu, is that we'd like to make an offer on that house,
Right.
Les Fabres.
Good. Would you like to come and have a dinner with me tonight to celebrate the thing?
With you?
Yes, with me.
That's great.
Well, yes.
That kind of offer. Estate agents in England don't do that, do they?
Well, I think that they should.
They celebrate the offer on the house with a slap-up meal at the best restaurant in the area, which turns out to be run by Manu's mother.
Fantastic.
Manu tells them over dinner that their offer has been accepted, so the evening turns into a bigger celebration.
Les Fabres. Les Fabres. Les Fabres.
Tonight's not the night to be worrying about boring practicalities. The bureaucracy and form filling can wait. Next week, reality sets in as they meet their new neighbours, a skateboarding shepherd and Monsieur Carbonero, who owns the land around Les Fabres.
Avons-nous le droit de passage in and out of the house?
No.
So, more from A Place in France at the same time next week. Now, fancy a 7-bedroom house right on the beach? Incredibly, it's possible in a place in the sun of Romania this Wednesday at 8 o'clock.